Thank you for tuning in to Open Carry, Alabama, where we fight tyranny with information. And today you're going to be getting a lot of information, so please pay very close attention. I was appalled when I found a news story on Facebook about a woman who had been sentenced to 20 years in prison for defending herself in her home. The story alleges that her husband was allegedly beating her, and she fired 2 warning shots into the wall of her house. Nobody was hit. Nobody was hurt in any way. And she was arrested and convicted and sentenced to 20 years after she refused to take a 3-year prison sentence plea bargain. I was appalled. And I was finding more news stories about it where, people are like, oh, in the wake of George Zimmerman, it just shows the racial injustice because this woman, Marissa Alexander from Florida, she's black. And they were saying that, oh, it's racism. That's all it is. It's racism. You can kill a white kid in the George Zimmerman case, and nothing happens. The killer gets to walk free. And then when a black woman shoots 2 bullets into a wall because her husband is beating her, she gets 20 years in prison. And it's it's racist. This justice system. And I would like to thank the commenters on CBS.com who showed me the original article. And this is what we're discussing today. CBS is race baiting and attempting to create their own news and cause problems. There was an original article posted a year before and a link provided. I went to the link. The story of this woman shooting into the wall was over a year old, and CBS purposely didn't fill in all the information. They didn't provide us with all the details. What they provided us with was that some woman shot at a wall to keep her alleged abuser away, and she was sentenced to 20 years. But the reality from the original story that was posted a year before was that she was in a home when her alleged husband was attacking her. She left the home. Okay, she left, went and got a shotgun, came back to the home, and then fired 2 shots into the wall. And I agree with the judge. She was not in clear danger of her life because she was able to leave the home and come back. She came back specifically to fire holes into her wall. That is why she got 20 years. That is not standing your ground. Under the stand your ground law, if you don't know what that is, it means that you do not have an obligation to attempt to flee, and you have the right to immediately use deadly force to defend yourself. And everybody's trying to say that, oh, well, that she was just using the stand your ground law, and then she got 20 years in prison, and CBS is deliberately race baiting. They are deliberately trying to cause riots. That is exactly what they're trying to do, because this woman did not just shoot a couple holes into her wall to get a beating husband away from her. What she did was, she left the home and came back with a gun, and then shot the wall. That's not fleeing. If she was in fear for her life, when she left, she would have gone to the police department, the sheriff's office. She would have left and stayed gone. She came back with a gun. It's absolutely sickening to me that CBS and anybody else who is continuing the story, because there are a lot of forums that I read when I first read the story, people who found this link from CBS and were outraged, writing entire articles on how outraged they were. The George Zimmerman case, and how the white man can kill a black kid and get away with it. And now we've got this black woman who shoots a wall in defense, and she's getting 20 years. And the reality is that there is no racism in that case. None whatsoever. George Zimmerman, whatever, we could debate that all year long. But the fact is, this Marissa Alexander from Florida, the fact is she broke the law. She left the house, came back with a gun, and then she was breaking the law at that point. She was not in clear, danger to herself. There was no danger at that point because she's the one that came back. She, at that point, was the aggressor. Okay, and there's no other way to say that. She was the aggressor at that point. If somebody leaves your home, regardless of whether or not you are the abuser, alleged abuser, and this person leaves, and they come back a couple hours later with a gun and start shooting your walls, they are the aggressor. They are the criminal. And she got a sentence that she deserved. I don't know if 20 years in prison really is deserved for shooting a wall, but I do believe she was guilty and that she should spend time in prison. That's what happens, okay? 20 years is excessive, but the fact of the matter is CBS is race baiting and deliberately trying to skew the information so that people are ranting and raving and writing forums and articles all over the place about how there's just so much racial injustice in this country. And the fact of the matter is, that's not true. They took a 1-year-old story and deliberately skewed the information. Look it up. Just, you know what? At this point, don't trust anything CBS has to say. If they could take something in the wake of the George Zimmerman case, if they could look through their old articles and find another case of some black person and deliberately try to spin it into racism, deliberately to cause panic in the public, they are no longer a reliable news source, if they ever even were to begin with, and they should not be taken seriously. Do your research. Thanks for watching Open Carry Alabama, where we fight tyranny with information. See y'all again later. Today.